Hello everyone. Welcome back to science classes. In the last module, I have discussed how nutrition takes place in plants. Now, in this module, I am going to explain human digestive system by which you will get know how nutrition takes place in human beings. So, the learning objectives are by this video, you will get know about the structure of human alimentary canal, about human digestive system, how digestion takes place in the human body, and about the gastric glands and their secretions. Let's start with human digestive system. Human beings show Holozoic mode of nutrition. Holozoic mode already we have discussed in the previous module. In fact, human beings are heterotrophic, omnivorous organisms. They obtain the food from animals, plants, and their products. The nutrition in human beings takes place through human digestive system. The human digestive system is mainly consist of alimentary canal and its associated glands. So we can study the human digestive system in two parts. First, alimentary canal, and the second is associated glands like salivary glands, liver, pancreas, etc. So the human alimentary canal is basically a long tube extending from the mouth to the anus. It is about 9 meters long tube. The alimentary canal comprises the following parts. You can see in the slide: mouth, buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. So let's start with mouth. Human beings ingest various types of food through a special organ. It is called mouth. And then the inner portion of the mouth is called buccal cavity. Actually, buccal cavity contains teeth, tongue, and saliva. All three are included in the buccal cavity. Teeth helps in the chewing of the food, and tongue mix the food with saliva, and it also gives bolus shape to the food so that it can be easily swallowed. Salivary glands secrete saliva, which helps in the digestion of starch. Thus, buccal cavity contains these three. Now about pharynx. Pharynx is a short conical region that lies in the neck region. It has two parts. One lies behind nasal cavity and leads to trachea, and other leads to esophagus. Now the next one is esophagus. It is a muscular tube of about 25 centimeter long. It passes through the diaphragm and leads to the stomach. Food passes through the esophagus due to the rhythmic contraction and expansion, which is known as peristalsis. Food takes about 2 to 3 seconds to travel through it and reaches stomach. So in the next slide, you can see the pathway, how food enters and moves in the alimentary canal. First, we intake the food through mouth, then reaches to buccal cavity, then pharynx, then esophagus. In esophagus, specific movements, that is peristaltic movement occurs, which send the food to the mouth. Then from mouth it enters to duodenum, that is the first part of the small intestine. Then in large intestine, from large intestine to rectum, and then anus. So from esophagus, the food reaches to the stomach. It is a sac-like organ having strong muscular walls. It lies just below diaphragm on the left side of the abdominal cavity. It helps in mechanical and chemical processing of the food. Now from stomach, the food enters into the small intestine. It is a narrow tube about 6 meters in length. It is extensively coiled and differentiated into three regions. The first one is duodenum, that is, it is curved C shape. You can see this. It is curved C shape structure, and actually it receives the secretion of the liver and pancreas. Now the next one is jejunum. It is the quite longer, we can say it is quite long and coiled part that helps in the digestion. This is jejunum. And the next one is ileum. It is the last part and helps in the absorption of digestive food. Now from small intestine, the food reaches to large intestine. So Just like the small intestine, large intestine also have three parts. It is shorter and wider than small intestine. It forms an inverted U over the coils of the small intestine. It has three parts. You can see in this slide, that is cecum and colon, ascending colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon. These are the parts of this colon, and the next one is rectum. Okay, so the first part, that is cecum. It is a small rounded sac which has vermiform appendix. The second one is colon. It absorbs water from the undigested food. Then the third is rectum. It stores undigested food and unabsorbed food also, undigested and unabsorbed food. This is all about the structure of the human alimentary canal. Now we will see how nutrition takes place in the human beings. So the process of nutrition, in this process the following steps occur, that is ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion. So starting with ingestion, this is the human alimentary canal. By this slide you can see different parts of the alimentary canal clearly. So ingestion, it is the process of taking in food inside the mouth. Food is chewed and ground with the help of teeth before swallowing it. Food is taken into the pharynx and then swallowed into the esophagus. Now the next step starts, that is digestion. The process of conversion of complex organic molecules into smaller, simpler and soluble form with the help of enzyme is called digestion. So digestion starts in mouth. As we put food in the mouth, digestion starts. If you have noticed, then when we chew chapati or bread, then we feel some sugary, as the bread contains starch which converts into the sugar when it mixes with saliva. So as we put the food into the mouth, digestion starts. Food get mixed with saliva, secreted by salivary glands. Saliva contains salivary amylase, that is called ptyalin. Salivary glands contain salivary amylase. This is an enzyme which is also called ptyalin. This helps in the digestion of starch into the sugar. So thus digestion of starch occurs here. Now the food reaches to the stomach with the help of esophagus. In esophagus no digestion takes place. It only sends the food from mouth to stomach. In stomach, the lining of stomach has gastric glands that secrete gastric juices. Gastric juices contain HCl, pepsin and mucus. All the three have different roles. Mucus, it protects the inner lining of the stomach from the action of HCl acid under normal condition, because HCl is secreted in the stomach. So what is the role of HCl? Actually, HCl is hydrochloric acid which is required to activate pepsin, which is secreted into the stomach. In this slide you can see pepsin is an enzyme which is secreted from the stomach and it helps in the digestion of protein. Thus role of stomach is very important in the digestion. Now the food reaches to the small intestine. In a small intestine, from the stomach the food enters. The duodenum is the first part of the small intestine. It receives the secretion from the liver and pancreas. You can see this is the duodenum, which is the part of a small intestine, and receive the secretion from liver as well as from pancreas. They both send their secretions into the duodenum. So the liver and pancreas secrete their secretions which are helpful in the complete digestion of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Thus we can say that complete digestion of food takes place into the small intestine. So bile juice comes from gallbladder. This makes medium of the food basic, alkaline. Earlier in the stomach, HCl makes the food acidic so that pepsin can act on that. So the food is acidic which is coming from the stomach. Now bile juice makes it alkaline so that pancreatic juice can act over it. So the food becomes alkaline by the help of bile juice, and bile salts break down the large globules of fat into the smaller globule so that they increase the efficiency of enzymatic action. This is called emulsification of fat, conversion of larger fat globules into the smaller one so that they can be easily digested. Thus, there is not any role of bile juice in the digestion, but still it is needed because it helps in the emulsification of fat so that the digestion of fat can be easily done. Now, the pancreas secretes pancreatic juice, which contain three enzymes. Trypsin, this keeps the digestive proteins. It helps in the digestion of protein. And the amylase, this helps in the digestion of sugar, starch. Lipase, it helps to break down emulsified fats. Thus, you can see that all the three main components of the food, carbohydrate, fat, and protein, are digested here. So this is the place of complete digestion. The walls of the small intestine contain glands which secrete intestinal juice. The enzyme present in it finally converts the proteins into the amino acids, complex carbohydrates into the glucose, and fats into the fatty acids and cholesterol. Now absorption is needed. It is the process of mixing of digested food in the body fluid. It occurs in the ileum part of the small intestine, as earlier I have told you, which has millions of finger-like projections called villi. Villi provide a large area for absorption. They have thin layer of cells and are richly supplied with blood capillaries, so they help in maximum absorption of digested food. Fatty acids and glycerol are insoluble in water. They cannot reach the bloodstream directly. They are absorbed by lymph capillaries. Now the time for assimilation. It is the process of utilization of absorbed food in each and every cell of the body for various body functions such as obtaining energy, building up new tissue, repairing of old tissues, etc. Now in the last, egestion takes place, means the unabsorbed food is sent into the large intestine where more villi absorb water from this material. The rest of the material is removed from the body through the anus. The exit of this water material is regulated by the anal sphincter. Here one more important thing is that herbivores eat grass. So they need a longer small intestine to allow the cellulose to be digested, because cellulose takes a longer time to get digested. Whereas carnivores eat meat, so they need a shorter small intestine as meat is easier to digest. This is all how nutrition takes place in the human beings. Now the second part of the alimentary canal, human digestive system, is about gastric glands. So in this slide you can see the functions of different gastric glands. The first one, we can say different digestive glands actually. The first one is salivary gland, which is secreted from mouth. It contains saliva, which helps, it contains salivary amylase. Saliva contains salivary amylase, which helps in the conversion of starch into sugar. Salivary amylase is also known as ptyalin. Stomach, in the wall of the stomach, many of the gastric juices are secreted, which contain HCl, pepsin, mucus. So the role of pepsin is it helps in the breakdown of proteins. Now duodenum, which is the part of the small intestine, it receives the secretions from liver and pancreas both. In liver, bile juice bile juice contains bile salts, which helps in the emulsification of fat and make the food alkaline. And the pancreatic juice contains lipase, trypsin. Lipase helps in the digestion of fat and trypsin helps in the digestion of protein. Thus in your syllabus, mainly 4 digestive enzymes are given, that is salivary amylase, pepsin, lipase and trypsin. Mostly one question may be there in the board examinations from this topic. So this is all about the digestive glands. Now a quick recap of what we have done in this lecture. So the question number 1 is, where complete digestion takes place in human digestive system? It is small intestine. State the role of saliva in digestion. Saliva contains an enzyme that is salivary amylase, which helps in the digestion of the starch into sugar. Bile juice does not help in digestion, then also it is needed because it make the food alkaline so that pancreatic juice can act over it. They needed the alkaline medium, and secondly it helps in the emulsification of the fats for easy digestion of the fat. Now state the role of villi. Villis are richly supplied with the blood capillaries so that directly they can send the absorbed material nutrition to the body. They increases the surface area for the absorption in small intestine also. What will happen if HCl is not secreted in stomach? As I have told you, HCl is needed so that if any of the germs are there in the food, they may be killed. And most important is HCl provide acidic medium so that pepsin can act over the proteins and can digest the proteins. That's all about this lecture. Thanks for watching. Thank you again.